All right, what's going on, guys? Your boy, Isaac Parks. We're doing a little mic'd up punting again. I had fun last time, and I wanted to talk to you guys about something, so I'm gonna use this kind of as like a platform, just me to speak my mind. We're gonna do it while we're punting, the punting guy, right? And what I wanna talk about is the weird place being a free agent has people. It's not just my story, there's gonna be a lot of guys' stories, but it's just something I wanna speak my mind about. And it's pretty much just two concepts, right? It's the process of being too bad to make it, but too good to quit. So what do I mean by this? All right, let's get started. Let's start off with the too bad to make it part, right? So the general premise that I kind of wanted to talk about is not that the free agents are actually too bad to play in the NFL. It's actually quite the opposite. I think probably like the bottom 12 NFL guys can all get cycled out with free agents, and people would probably never notice, being realistic. Like, there's a bunch of really good free agents. The problem is that the NFL, CFL, UFL, XFL, and USFL, when they both existed, they all have this thing where they want you to be so much better than a guy who's like recently played. So let's say somebody just got out of the NFL, okay? And they just got done with a contract, the team didn't renew it. Now, a UFL team or a CFL team is gonna pick them up. So for a guy like me to get a shot, to even get the same shot as them, right? I would have to go to one of these free agent combine things and kick way better than them. And if you want proof, a guy that just got, well, he just got cut, but a guy who did really well at one of these combines, Seth Vernon, okay? He had to hit like a 65, like 5'5". One out of like every 200 NFL punts is gonna look like that. But he had to do that. And then he also had to stay consistent and average over 55-0 across the rest of his day in order to get that trial with the Vikings. So the premise is, the further you've been out of the NFL, that much better you have to kick than an NFL guy. Now your average NFL guy, if you put him in shirts and shorts, right, he's gonna hit the ball pretty well. I think going down and heading to Atlanta and seeing Jake and Blake and AJ kick, right, is like, they're all gonna hit the ball well in shirt and shorts. Now, mind you, that's 4 of the better guys, but still, like, they all hit the ball really clean. I'm not saying, so the guys that are worse than them, it's pretty easy for me to hang with. But like, a guy like myself, let's not even use me. A guy like a Seth Vernon, or a Michael Rivers, or a Jake Julian, one of these guys is like upper echelon of free agency, in and out of pro leagues, not quite making that cusp. A big reason is because the burden of proof that they have to make it into one of these is so much higher than an NFL guy. Now, meanwhile, look at some of these NFL guys that, how to say this in like kind of a nice way, had never really kind of turned the corner in a game in the NFL. They get tons of opportunities, And that's not me being salty. I'm kind of out of it. I'm kind of off the whole, not to sound like a Debbie Downer, but I'm not exactly thinking that any day now a team's gonna call me up. We're kind of past that now. We're pretty well past that spot. But a lot of guys are still in that spot, but they just have to do so much more than what an NFL guy would have to do to even get into that position. So that's what I mean when I'm saying, like, too bad to make it. Like, you can be elite, you can be top 1%, you can be good enough to play in the NFL, but being good enough to play in the NFL is not enough to get you over that hump to really earn a roster spot. You have to have GMs and coaches and whoever's watching think that you might be the best guy in the NFL if they let you in, right? Like when Seth kicked, I keep going back to Seth because he had an insane day. That's what helped get him back into to the ring. When Seth kicked, he put up one of the best free agent charting sessions I've ever seen, right? He put up a charting session a lot of NFL guys would not put up. A lot of NFL guys could have really good days that they're very proud of, and it still wouldn't be as good as what Seth did. That's where the burden of proof is at for free agents. So unless you're hitting balls like that, which I think, realistically, I'm just not hitting the ball clean at all. I'm talking, I don't really care. Realistically, not a lot of guys can have days like that, and it's not required, right? Because here's the other secret, right? Just because you can do that in shirt and shorts doesn't mean you're doing that in pads. The biggest thing about being an NFL punter is, yes, you have to be able to hit some big balls. Yes, I just made a video about Logan Cook hitting like a 62.53. Obviously, there's guys that do that, and they're really good. And I think you have to be able to hit that ball. But there's also a lot of guys that are really good. Like, I think Blake Gillikin does not hit insane hangs in game. Thomas Morstead does not hit insane hang times in games. He has, but I think on average, you just have to be able to hit that like 4.7, 4.8, 54, 56, that ballpark, which is a pretty playable ball. The problem is you go to one of these camps, you go to the combine, right? And let's say you hit a ball like this. Let me actually lock in. Right, pretty playable ball, full turn, full waggle, 50 plus. The lines are pretty faint out here, so I can't get an exact number. Let's say you hit that ball. They don't care. They don't care. They want to see the top end. They're not going to bring you in because you do that. Let's say you hit every ball like that, right? I went to Novak's 2021, 2022, something like that. Averaged 50, 4.88. That's a great day. I don't know many guys that are going to be disappointed that day. You know, no looks, no calls. It sounds like I'm just like kind of like complaining, but just sour grapes. I'm actually, like I said, I'm actually not. I think this is good for some of you younger guys to know just what you're thinking about. And then even for like UFL, CFL, even there, they're gonna go with guys that have been in and out of the league. And there's enough guys that have gotten those tryouts. Oh, it's a miss hit. There's enough guys that have gotten those tryouts and gotten workouts in the NFL that are gonna just take up those spots. So like you really have to have a really good senior year. A guy like me, screwed. Didn't even get a senior year. If you know my story, you know what happened. But then, so you might think, okay, cool, dude, just like, that's awesome, just quit, right? But then you just get out here, because I like to punt, it keeps the legs fresh, keeps me having fun, keeps me connected to the game that I talk about a lot. You get out here and you punt and you hit balls like this one, watch this, right? On command. Oh, that's gorgeous. It's like probably 61, 62. You hit balls like that. How am I supposed to put it down? How am I supposed to stop? Right? That's where the other problem comes in. Too good to quit, especially for specialists. I think this is the part that makes it the hardest, is like, this is a non-transferable skill. I'm not gonna, you can't join a flag football team and punt, like, right? Like I went and did semi-pro. That was fun. I still like doing it. I'm probably gonna do it again this spring, so stay tuned for Joe to Pro season 3. You know, it's not like when I'm later in life, I can still go into the backyards with my kids and just hit dingers, right, and unload. I'm like a quarterback. Even if you're a quarterback, your son, you still throw him a couple routes. Your arm might not be what it used to be, but you can still do it. Same thing for like, you know, wide receivers, you can play catch. Yeah, running back, D-line, maybe it's not as transferable, but like punting and kicking is super, like, you do it when you're at the peak of your game, and it is such a out-of-body experience when you're good at it, right? Like, one of my favorite things to talk about with punting is the disconnect between power in versus outcome. Meaning, like, it doesn't really feel like you're doing that much, and then when you watch that ball fly off your foot, you're just like, oh, like you just creamed it. I imagine it's like hitting a home run, where you're just like in the zone, and then you just connect, and it's just gone, and you're like, wow, I just did that. I would imagine it's a similar feeling to just like nuking a ball. Speaking of, let me go ahead and hit one real quick. Oh, I didn't hit it. Not very good. So it's like, when you're at the top and you're hitting the ball like that, it's so hard. Like, what am I supposed to do? Just stop? Just one day, just stop going to the field, stop kicking? I also have all these footballs now. Obviously, I'm going to use them. I'm going to try to get in with some of these seniors coming up this year, train with them, help them get better, help them get ready for the pros. But like in the meantime, what am I supposed to do for the rest of the year? Just not kick, not punt, not do this thing that I love and I'm really good at? It puts you in quite the bind as a specialist, you know? Just being this good at something and being stuck in like limbo, free agency limbo. And I'm sure there's lots of people out there in the world who kind of are in the same way, right? Oh yeah. Who kind of are in the same feeling, you know, where you're just like really good at something, want to do it, but there's just not the job opening for you. And it sucks. And I really wish the UFL would give more opportunities to like younger guys. I love the UFL. I love the punters and kickers in the UFL before I say what I'm about to say. But just look at like what the punting situation looks like versus the kicking situation. The kicking in the UFL, every time they've brought in like a young, promising kicker, he is like dominated, right? Brandon Aubrey, Jake Bates, both those guys, no former pro experience, dominated, do really well. The punting situation, they had this year, like what, Paxton? Paxton did okay. I think he could have done better, but he did okay. But aside from that, like everybody else is free agents, they're 30 plus years old, you know, And this isn't to hate on them. They are kicking the ball really well, you know. They 100% are good, and I'm not mad at them for having those spots. And it's not really about who deserves what or who has earned what, because I think they just choose guys that have a lot of that former professional experience. You know, when you look at like your Matt Whites and Brock Millers, I mean, Marquette King, he's an all-pro, he's a Pro Bowler. He's a Pro Bowler. What do you expect to, you know, it's a hard resume builder to beat. So you would just wish they would kind of value some of the guys. Once again, I'm not talking about myself right now. It might sound like that I'm like talking about other people, but implying myself. Guys, my time is up. I get it. It's completely moved on. But like for a lot of these younger guys, there's so many talented kickers and punters that came out last year that I felt like could have had a shot, you know. But instead, it's like they just kind of recycle the same kickers from the UFL and USFL. Like there was guys that played in the XFL 2 years ago and got shut down and ended up back on the UFL team. You know, there's been like 3 rounds of punters that have come out since then that all probably could have done pretty good. But that's just the state that we're in. That's the state of free agency. That's what's like being a free agent. I just want to kind of ramble to you guys for a little bit. Hope it's not too downer. I guess the important part that I want you guys to say, stay motivated. I think things are going to change. I feel like they see this. The NFL is already moving to kind of change. I don't know if you guys heard about the senior special showcase, but the NFL is already moving to kind of like improve the recruiting process of guys coming out of college, because it is messed up and they don't know who to trust. They don't know who to bring in anymore. So hopefully, you know, we start getting some better stuff like that. Yeah, well, let's hit this last ball, right? See how it goes. I'm gonna just try to just kill it. Oh, felt good. Nice little float there. Oh, it's so flat. I hope I'm not in the way of that ball. It just like turned over, right? Okay, fun fact for the non-punters. That ball just like, sometimes like I pretend like this is a tip, it came off my foot. Sometimes the balls just do that. They just dive right afterwards, right? We don't love that. We just like that here, kind of flatten out and just waggle its way down. That, oh, so good, so good. But yeah, I mean, let me know what you guys think. Am I a complainer? Do I want too much for my fellow punters? We'll see. And once again, for the UFL guys that I was kind of talking about, they're not bad. They're good. They deserve to play. They're very good punters. I'm not saying like, oh, everybody would be better than them. I just wish they would value the rookies more. Lean a little bit less on prior form experience, on prior pro experience, and a little bit more on like, hey, let's just give these young guys a shot. It worked out well for Daniel Whelan. But yeah, have an amazing day. Peace.